the Japanese and Korean women look very much after their skin. They use layering techniques. They use multiple products on a daily basis.
And when will people see results? How long do they need to
90% of skin diseases are linked to the immune system, because in life sciences, you cannot do anything without money. But they also know that what basically you eat is what you are.
Welcome back to another episode of the BiohackerBlondie Podcast. We are here with François. How do you say your name?
François.
François. Okay, so you are the president and founder of ISOCELL. Basically, these supplements, oral supplements for our skin. So we're going to get all into skin health, which everyone wants to know about, because I will do everything and most people will do everything for good skin. So tell us about your journey into this. I know you have, over 20 years of experience in the cosmetic space and skincare. So how did you go from skincare to realizing that beauty also comes from within?
That's a long journey. It is true that I worked for L'Oreal and Johnson & Johnson for 17 years, going up the corporate ladder and enjoying it. And I don't know, it's probably when I had some sort of midlife crisis when I was 40 years old. I wanted to get to do my own things, to have better control of my life. So I decided that I would leave the comfort and of big corporate life and careers to get started and do my own things. So at first I didn't go straight into oral products. I started a small venture company and we invested in projects. And one day I met those two French immunologists who were conducting research at a French hospital called La Pitié-Salpêtrière. That's right in the heart of Paris. It's a very well-known medical institution or hospital in France because it's one of the world's largest hospital for the treatment of tropical diseases because of the France's past in Africa. Anyway, those two immunologists were conducting research in the field of AIDS research. They were looking for some sort of natural product that could help in the healing process for AIDS patients. And those researchers were working under the supervision of Professor Luc Montagnier. He's the recipient of the 2008 Nobel Prize of Medicine for the discovery of AIDS. And he is a true believer in natural medicine, in natural products. And he believes that in the therapeutic arsenal against AIDS, natural products and natural medicine has a big role to play, because traditional chemotherapies, will fight the virus. And today you can reach pretty good results with chemotherapy. You can block the presence of the virus in under 1% of your body cells. But those chemotherapies, these treat therapies, they don't do anything against the damage done by the virus. Well, that you have to start the healing process. And that's where he believed that natural products could play a big role. So those two scientists came to see me and they said, well, we've managed to develop a oral bioactive or bioavailable form of superoxide dismutase. It's a bit of a barbarian term, but it's a very critical enzyme that was previously injected, but never orally bioavailable. So they had a patent.
For immunology?
Yes. So the superoxide dismutase, I could go back on was discovered in 1968 by two American scientists, Joe McCord and Michael Fridovich. And they discovered very critical role of that enzyme. They call it the master defense system, cellular defense. So it's the first line of defense for cells, our body cells. I'll come back on that subject later on. But until their discovery, SOD could be injected directly in the location of the inflammation. And if you dig into a little bit into research, there are over 10,000 published journal articles on injectable SOD.
I'm always learning something new. I swear. I always think I know everything in this space, but I'm always learning.
This
Remarkable.
it's a universe, it's a world on its own, enzymes, and especially antioxidant enzymes. So anyway, in France and in Europe, we had what was called the mad cow disease, and you couldn't use animal extracts and inject them. So they had to find a alternative form of SOD that would be digested. However, something that was foreign to animal extract. It had to be a botanical extract. However, if you ingest SOD or a botanical extract rich in SOD, SOD will be destroyed in the stomach by the acidity of the stomach. So it's not really bioactive. It doesn't do anything, basically. So that's when those two guys developed and patented a bioactive form of SOD using gliadin. Gliadin is a fraction of wheat. So it's a bit of a bad word in some parts of the world because it's a fraction of gluten. Let's say things directly. However, and I'll tell you more about that fraction of gluten. But basically, and that coating. But when I met them, we were not at this stage. They just had a patent. So they knew the product would work with in vitro work, but they hadn't done any in vivo experiment, and they were very far away from developing a product. So that's when I got interested. And I was especially interested in that enzyme because I worked on that enzyme when I was at L'Oreal, because L'Oreal has multiple patents on superoxide dismutase on hair application to prevent hair loss and hair graying.
Gosh.
So I was a little bit
familiar,
knowledgeable. I had some knowledge about this product, this enzyme, and that was very intriguing to me. So we talk, and I thought, well, this is serious. We could do something very interesting with this product, with this patent. So I set up a company. I left in the financing world, which I didn't have a lot of interest for investing. I like to do things myself. I don't like to rely on other people or invest in other things. I like to do things myself. And brought in, of course, the two scientists, and we pulled together and started that company called ISOCELL. And we built a strategy and we raised money, because in life sciences, you cannot do anything without money and big amount of money. So that's when we transform a patent into a product. After 2 years of experiment, we finally had a product. We managed to manufacture that coating protection of gliadin around that botanical extract, which, funny enough, we found that extract rich in SOD in melon.
Yeah.
So
is that where it came from back then when they were doing the injections? Is it came from the specific melon?
No. When they were doing the injections, it was coming from beef liver, because liver is very, very rich in SOD. So they would extract it
That's
from
why it's the health. Like, everyone is eating raw liver now for these health benefits, but maybe it's SOD.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Well, it also has a lot of toxins, so I don't know if you want to eat so much liver. But anyway, so yeah, they would extract SOD from beef, and then because beef SOD is very homologous to human SOD, you can inject beef SOD directly. But you cannot do that with botanical extracts because it's too different from human SOD. So you cannot inject it. It has to go through digestion and reach the upper level of the intestine, where you have 70% of your immunocompetent cells. So before we dig further into the SOD, I want to share with you why SOD is so critical, because every human being, whether it's a plant or an animal or a human, who consumes oxygen produces SOD, because oxygen is the most toxic free radical, produces the most toxic free radicals. They are called oxygen reactive species. And basically what happens is that when you breathe in oxygen, oxygen is the source of energy for your cells. So your cells are going to burn that oxygen. And in the process of burning that oxygen, they will produce 2 to 3% of toxic molecules, which are oxygen molecules that are not properly burned, which are called oxygen reactive species. And they are the most toxic form of free radicals. So most of your listeners will be familiar with free radicals from sun radiation. But as a matter of fact, oxygen is the source of the most toxic free radicals. So the problem is really oxygen is killing you slowly because of the oxygen reactive species, but without oxygen, you die immediately. So you have, and it's half a joke, but basically what happens is that, so the consumption of oxygen leads to very toxic free radicals, oxygen reactive species, and those free radicals are molecules that are missing one electron. So they will try to reach stability by gathering an electron anywhere they can find it. And in this process, those free radicals are going to do a lot of damages.
Yeah.
So thank God, life and nature is well organized. We have our own line of defense against those toxic free radicals. And it's an enzymatic pathway that will detoxify the oxygen reactive species into oxygen and water. And the first line of defense is superoxide dismutase. So when a cell is in presence of free radicals, it will produce that enzyme, and then another of other enzymes such as catalase, glutathione, and so on, to detoxify those free radicals. And the very interesting thing about SOD is that, as I said, every living organism, whether plants and humans that consume oxygen, has developed those enzymes to fight free radicals. The most interesting part is that the more SOD a living being produces, the longer they live. So there is a direct relationship between SOD and longevity. That's why when it was first discovered by those two American scientists in 1968, it was called the enzyme of life. So SOD is a very, very special molecule. It's the master enzyme. It's the most important line of defense for your cells.
Why is no one talking about this? I mean, I I feel like I'm just around so many doctors, so many scientists, and everyone's talking about glutathione, everyone's talking about NAD, and I've never heard of this. And this is shocking. I thought we were just going to talk about a supplement of vitamin C and some
No,
melon extract. This
no, there
goes
is much
way
more to that.
beyond. And
Yes,
I'm
we're way
shocked
beyond.
because you sound
We're
like a
way beyond,
doctor.
and it's much more critical, because if you have a deficiency in SOD, and there are different parts of your body where SOD is produced. There is blood, tissues, and even you have intracellular SOD, which is called, it's a different type of SOD, but it really helps the mitochondria to work perfectly. So if you have a deficiency in this SOD, you will most likely be in a lot of trouble. A lot. And most autoimmune diseases start with a deficiency in SOD and it's called, you have copper, zinc, and mitochondrial SOD is called manganese SOD. It's type 2 SOD. It's critical. I think there is more and more awareness on this enzyme and on the other enzymes that help detoxify oxygen reactive species. But basically, yes, it's right at the heart of cellular defense, of your aging, of the ability of your cells to defend themselves, and so on.
So, are you testing that? You can test this biomarker of SOD in your
Yes.
blood. Have you, when done this test, Have you taken the supplement and your levels are increased? And can you have too much of this in your body for it to do damage?
Very good question. And the answer is no. It's very interesting because it's not the product that you digest that is directly going to increase your SOD. So as I said, your body produces SOD as well as catalase and glutathione. And
Mm-hmm.
what my product does, it will activate your own internal mechanism of producing SOD, catalase, and glutathione. And to give you an example, very simple, if you take a mouse and you draw a little bit of blood and you measure SOD in its blood, and then you feed the animal as our product, SOD, after 30 days, you draw some blood and measure SOD, you will see that the difference of SOD from day 0 to day 30 is much more than the SOD that we fed the animal. So it's not us, it's our ability to trigger a natural mechanism, defense mechanism that is at work there. And that's why there is no toxicity with this product. And we call it its properties. It's not only its antioxidants, but it has anti-inflammatory properties. And the most interesting properties are the immunomodulating properties. So the ability to modulate the immune system. It will regulate your enzymatic pathway. It will regulate your defense mechanism. So I'll give you an example back to our topic of the day, skin.
Yeah.
Okay. My product was, for the last few years, we've done a lot of work on vitiligo. Okay. I don't know if you're aware of what vitiligo is, but it's a loss of color of the skin. It's depigmenting the skin. So it's an autoimmune disease.
Yeah.
It's 1% of the Western population, but in some countries like India it's 2 or 3% of the population. So basically in the process of what happens with vitiligo is that people who suffer from vitiligo, they have the pigmenting cells called melanocytes. So they will migrate from the dermis to the epidermis. And in that process of migration, there will be damage by a overactivity as a reaction of the immune system that will target them and damage them. And by doing that, the immune system will prevent those melanocytes to stick at the level of the epidermis. That's why they fall, and that's why you have white patches of color. You're missing that. So to stimulate the production of melanocytes, you have to use natural radiation, such as sun, UVB, phototherapy, laser, and so on. So my product is not going to stimulate melanocytes. That's natural light or UVB. What my product does, it regulates the overreaction of the immune system. And by doing so, will help more melanocytes to reach the epidermis. And the results are very impressive. We've published a number of studies. We have one more coming up, always in combination with phototherapy, to the point that now this product is part of the international medical guidelines for the treatment of vitiligo. So it's been recognized by the top 50 experts in the world in this disease as a useful systemic tool to help with the treatment of vitiligo in conjunction with phototherapy.
That is amazing. So it's also helping regulate your immune system as well. It's not
modulate, yes.
Or modulate. It's not just benefiting the skin.
No, we have
more.
Yes, we have over 40 published studies and clinicals. We have a website, glycedin.org, and where you find all our studies. And we have done research in more than 10 different countries around the world. So the technology has been proven, validated in many different countries. That's my point. And not only on skin. Skin is our prime interest. We do a lot of research on skin in the field of photoprotection, melasma, vitiligo, as I said, and even aging, on its own or in conjunction with other products, like topical products. There's great benefits, and we'll get to that in a minute when we talk about the synergy between in and out skincare.
Yeah.
But we've done work in cardiometabolic, oncology, even sports medicine, because in all those indications, you have inflammation. Oxidative stress is
Yeah.
going to be, and free radicals are present everywhere and all your organs. And if you're sick, if you live in a very highly polluted environment, if you age, more free radicals. So all your organs will be affected. In most chronic diseases, there is a high component of free radicals that is causing inflammation. Inflammation causes free radicals, and it's like a cycle.
Are you guys testing like HSCRP, an inflammation marker? I just did another like extensive test with Gin Affinity, and he has an oxidative stress biomarker. Are you guys doing any of those tests before?
We've done measurement of CRPs, yeah. In high-level athletes, we've done a study with the national rowing team of Poland. But I mean, honestly, we're not focusing so much on sports medicine, but I can tell you, yes, inflammatory markers like CRP, lactic acid buildup, and so on, the product will have an impact in reducing those inflammatory markers as well as reducing the level of lactic acid. So it is beneficial for recovery, basically, because if you have less inflammation, you have better recovery post practicing your your workout or your marathon or whatever you're going to do.
I know. I mean, inflammation is almost the root cause of everything. So, I mean, if you can reduce inflammation in so many ways with athletes and injuries and autoimmune or any of these health, issues, it can really change someone's life. Have you been taking? I mean, this company was developed in 2001.
Yeah, it was established in 2001, but we had a product in 2003 in the market.
And have you been taking this since?
Yes.
And have your biomarkers changed? And also, what were the benefits of your skin?
On my skin, most people say that I have very good skin, but you
Okay, I
cannot
didn't know if
see
this was
that.
just
But
French because you guys have amazing skin, so I didn't know.
well,
Or
maybe, but
L'Oreal, maybe.
yeah. But I'll tell you an objective marker. Every year I do my annual checkup, and I do a very specific. I have a very specific checkup on called IMT, intima media thickness. Intima media thickness. It's the measurement of your plaque buildup at the level of the carotid. You can
Interesting.
do that by ultrasound.
Oh, yes, 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 yes.
Yeah.
I just did that.
And it's very, very effective, very precise. And it's considered by the American Heart Association as the most reliable predictive marker of cardiovascular accidents. And my INT is very good. It's always in check. And I have the test to, to show it. And I do that every year. And I have not, there hasn't been any increase. So that's a very objective. And by the way, we did a 2-year study on arteriosclerosis, which we published. Everything that I'm telling you is published. Okay. I'm
Yeah,
not telling you
that's
that
amazing.
something that we are not, we haven't published. We noticed that it could have an impact on the plaque buildup, as well. It takes time. Okay. Because that's an inflammatory process as well. But it can actually have an impact on intima media thickness, the plaque buildup in your arteries.
Huge. I mean,
And you
that's
could tell
really,
me, why aren't you involved in that space? Because it's such a big space. But, the investment that you have to make to demonstrate something like that is massive. You're talking about
yeah.
hundreds of millions of dollars of research. And at the end of the day, we're still a rather small company, even though we operate in 50 countries. And I don't have those resources, that kind of resources. And because I want to keep the control of my company and do the things that I want and do the things that I want to do, not be under the direction of some strange investment funds, or big pharma. So we are very disciplined in where we put our investment money in terms of research money. And cardiovascular, cardiometabolic, those are very expensive research. Dermatology is a lot more affordable because with a smaller group of people, you can still provide, achieve robust demonstration of effectiveness of the product.
So your product also, it helps with dark spots,
Okay.
wrinkles.
Yes, it helps with melasma.
Okay,
And,
because
and
that's my biggest issue, and I think a lot of people struggle with that, and that's something really hard to get rid of.
yes, and are you taking any topical product for that? Like
Um,
depigmenting cream, or are you treated with?
a little retinol.
Yeah. Well, I'll be happy to send you some products like that. We have a very good product for the treatment of melasma. It's called skin brightening,
Hmm.
glycerin skin brightening. And by the way, we have a ton of demonstration how it really works well in conjunction with if you're going to do laser treatment or if you're going to do
Right.
the usual treatment for melasma is called a Klingman trio. It's a combination of topical products with sunscreens, retinoids, and any depigmenting creams. And
Okay.
basically, if you combine it with my product, you have double the results. So you have a reduction of the melasma space. It's called MASI, is melasma area specific intensity. And again, we conducted a study in India on melasma patients.
Okay. I'm just gonna come to Paris and you can I will
Well,
do this.
I could send you just a short summary, published summary of all our studies. I think you'll be pretty amazed because we've done a lot of work because we've always thought that we have to take the high ground. You know, it's we're not part of that supplement space. We prefer to talk about natural product, natural medicine, because we have the level of demonstration in clinical demonstration of some of the drugs.
Yeah.
Clearly. So yeah, I'll be happy. You should try it. For skin, we've done work in California. We've done work in Florida in combining retinoids with our product to improve
Okay.
skin elasticity, skin hydration, reduce photo damage, reduce wrinkles.
Any specific places in Florida? I'm here in Miami now. I'm from
Yeah, in Miami,
California. Now I'm in
we've worked
Miami.
in Miami Skin Center. It's published. So Dr. Jolly Kaufman, she's in
Okay.
Miami Skin Center. And her clinic is very famous because it used to be the clinic of Dr. Fred Brandt. And Fred Brandt he loved my products. I was fortunate to have a few very interesting discussions with Fred Brandt he was very knowledgeable. He was a very well-known dermatologist. And just to give you an idea, he was the world's largest injector of Botox.
Wow.
So,
That
so
really
big.
says something.
Yes, he was Madonna's doctor, dermatologist. He had a lot of,
Wow.
yeah, he is big name. Unfortunately, he passed away, a few years ago. And Dr. and her associates took over that clinic in downtown Miami. And
Wow. Okay.
yeah, so we conducted a study with her on combining laser and our product for the treatment of melasma. And the beauty is that if you combine oral products like mine with laser, non-ablative laser that I use for that treatment, you have much less what is called transdermal water loss. So your skin is not as dry and you have much less pigmentation rebounds post-treatment.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah,
Which,
that's the lasers get so dry. I had another doctor inject salmon sperm. I don't know if you've heard of the salmon
yeah, I
sperm,
know
but
salmon sperm. Yeah.
he helped with the hydration because it was so dry after a laser. And so that was
Yes.
something that was
Yeah.
helpful. But that is a big issue after lasers as well. So
Yeah.
super
Yeah.
interesting. So can this be topical as well? Can I put this on top?
No, you only use it orally.
Like,
You have
okay.
because all our technology is based on the absorption and the effectiveness orally. And plus, there are so many good skincare products out there that we prefer to be the best of all oral products than to have not so good topical products, if you understand what I mean. That's something I insisted on, is to keep that expertise in what you call supplements or ingestible products but we not go in other application like topical application. But we've done work with combining with retinoids, with Klingman trios, with other creams.
Okay.
And there is a
And why?
very strong synergy. On average, we will double the results of just the topical on its own.
Wow. That is, I mean, remarkable. I know so many clinics, Dr. Dorfman and people, and I've never heard of this. This is shocking to me.
Yeah,
And I would love to have the results, work much better after lasers or treatments than, just working with the laser.
I know I have to say, and that's a little bit why we're talking today, is that the US is
Yeah.
a bit of an exception for us because it's a very competitive and very expensive market to service. And that's why at this stage we do work with a number of clinics, but very few, to really push our line of products with dermatologists or aesthetic physician or plastic surgeons and so on. You need a whole sales force. This is super expensive. So at this stage, this is something that we do in other countries. Like in Mexico, we work with over 1,000 physicians, 1,000 clinics in Mexico. We are all over Latin America. But in those countries, we could establish some partnerships with local companies, which we haven't been able to do in the US. Until I can do that, it's going to be difficult. Well, we're available on Amazon Prime, but
Okay. It is available there in the US.
yes.
Okay, amazing. Is this
Yeah.
popular in France? Is this a very common supplement in France and other countries in Europe?
I mean, to tell you the truth, our two best regions are Latin America and Asia. So we're very big
Asia.
in Japan and Korea and in countries like that. And in Europe,
This is
yes.
why they have the most beautiful skin in Korea and
Well,
Japan.
the women, the Japanese and Korean women look very much after the skin, that's for sure.
Yeah.
They use layering techniques, they use multiple products on a daily basis. But they also know that what basically you eat is what you are. So you have to be very, very careful because in the US, a lot of the skin issues are honestly self-inflicted.
I know.
Acne, some allergies,
Yeah.
a
The food here is
proper
very,
diet
very
will
toxic.
go a long way into solving your skin problems,
Yeah.
and not too much sun exposure, of course.
Yeah.
That's the other thing, and drink enough water and, it's a whole,
Mineralized.
it's your area of expertise, lifestyle
Yeah.
coach, or health
Yeah.
coach. You have a big job to do with your
The US.
in the US.
It is so toxic here. I am telling you, I am on Brian Johnson's level of, filtering all my water, whole foods, organic. I find farms that I know because even the water here has so many pesticides and the air, like it's so hard to avoid that's why everyone feels better. You go to Europe, you lose weight, you lose inflammation. I think it's mostly inflammation. It is not easy. I mean, even I don't do any processed food. I don't do anything, but I can go to Europe and do whatever and I feel great. I mean, of course, I still eat really healthy, but it is definitely, I think, more difficult in the US to stay away from toxins. And even in our whole foods, they can be corrupt if they're not organic, and there's even organic pesticides, and it's still in the water and the soil. And
Yeah, it's
I
very
always
hard.
try and get food from Europe if I can, olives, olive oil, anything I can, because I try to avoid those pesticides because people don't think about where your food is coming from. If there's more toxins in a country and it's getting imported from there, or they don't have the regulations, then I'm always thinking about that when I look at food. I mean, I think, so it's something to always think of. For your supplements as well, why did you choose certain ingredients with SOD? Because you could have, there's other like skincare supplements and vitamins you could have that are kind of popular, and I want to talk about collagen, your thoughts on collagen, your thoughts on vitamin A. I did, and you had very specific tomatoes and vitamin C, orange, I believe hyaluronic acid. So why did you choose those certain ingredients?
When we started, we didn't start on skin. Skin was not
Mm,
our focus. What was our focus was oxidative stress and inflammation. And
mm,
our original studies were not on skin. It's only
uh,
later that we moved to skin. So, and it's such a versatile product because it's really working at the heart of cellular defense and cellular homeostasis, the balance of the cells. Yes, it cannot do everything, to your point. So
yeah,
we have products that are combination. So we combine it SOD with, we have a product that contains hyaluronic acid. We use, personally, I love krill oil, omega-3s. And krill oil is a source of omega-3 that is very rich in phospholipids. It's
mm,
7 times more phospholipids than fish oil. So we
interesting.
use rich source of omega-6, such as borage oil. So we do use other ingredients. I'm not so keen on collagen, to be honest with you, because I haven't seen any compelling clinical data in terms of penetration of collagen orally. I'm not talking topical, I'm talking orally.
Wow.
Absorption is problematic.
Yeah,
But yes, we're willing to have a look. I love it when I identify an ingredient that works in synergy with our ISO.
yeah,
Yeah. So we have a great interest in probiotics and fibers because oxidative stress and the microbiota work hand in hand.
yeah,
So, as a matter of fact, if you're a healthy human being, one thing you can do for your health is make sure that you have a healthy microbiota and make sure that you control your stress, your oxidative stress. If you solve those two issues, you'll be in much better shape and much better health. So
love,
what we do at ISOCELL is the oxidative stress. We don't do the microbiota because, that's a totally different mechanism of
that's
action,
a
totally
beast.
different technology.
Yeah,
And by the way, if you work on your immune system, you will work on your skin
yeah,
because 90% of skin diseases are linked to the immune system.
I know.
Okay. Whether it's
Everyone wants to blame the sun, and I'm like, it's not the sun. It's how your cells are reacting to the sun, and it doesn't know how to defend the body, you know?
Yes, because, well, in the case of melasma, it's you develop melasma because you don't have enough natural photoprotection. Your body doesn't, your immune system is not strong enough to provide that photoprotection.
Yeah.
Which is the other side of the coin when with vitiligo. Vitiligo, your immune system is overproductive. Melasma, it's not, but it's the same pathway. It works. So no, we're happy to keep working on SOD to be the world expert on this enzyme
Yes,
and to combine it
amazing.
with other interesting ingredients for specific indication.
What has been your since you've been in this skincare line and working with L'Oreal, what has been your go-to skincare? Like, what have you suggest for good skin as well? I want to hear what you
Uh, I,
learned over 20 years.
I think L'Oreal has many, many good products. I mean, seen from the inside, they pay a lot of attention to the quality of the ingredients, the formulation, the safety of their products. I don't think you need to go to the most expensive products.
Okay.
I think they are great products across the range. So, personally, I prefer their dermatology called lines, such as Roche-Posay or SkinCeuticals or those
Mm,
products I
mm.
like very much because they have good clinical data. They have very good formulation, absorption. They are very safe. I probably good too, but there are many good topical products on the market, honestly,
And what do you
which is
use?
not the case for all supplements. I want to,
I know.
I might
I
add.
know.
L'Oreal is great.
Well, what do
I
you
work
use
for,
today? What did you use this morning?
that's the question. Well, honestly, it's a good question, but this morning I used Clarins. I like very much
Okay.
their mains line. So I used
Uh,
Clarins this morning,
Do you
but
do red light or do you do any lasers? What have
no,
you?
no,
No
no.
red light.
No, 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 no. I, I'm not. I'm not very good at, using using alternative, treatments. I use topical treatments. I use sunscreens. I try to, do workout regularly. I stay out of the sun if I can. I try to control my weight, but I don't do a lot of aesthetic treatments.
Wow. Okay. And no,
Maybe all my friends want to do some hair grafting on me.
yeah.
They want to do, but in my space, I'm more in the functional area than really in the aesthetic area, if you
Yeah.
see what I mean. So
Yeah.
I
The
pay a lot of
cellular level.
attention to demonstration, aesthetics. I try to work out, to sports, control my diet. I haven't done any Botox or anything like that.
Wow. Okay. Okay. I know it's very popular in LA, Miami, the whole
Yeah,
aesthetics
sure, sure.
and
It's
everything. And now, what are your thoughts on stem cells? Have you seen a lot of stem cell procedures, hair, face,
um,
microneedling?
yeah, yeah. I am certainly not an expert on stem cells. I know that
Okay.
they are very popular. They are developing. The exosome also is developing.
Yeah.
You have. I think stem cells is very promising, if you want my opinion, but I'm no expert in that field. Again, I try to be very humble. I know a very small part of medicine, of dermatology, and that's what I focus on.
Yeah.
So, there are people who would be, but where we are very strict and rigorous is really in identifying products and ingredients that have really strong clinical support. There is so much crap in this market. There are some very interesting products, oral products, but a lot of products are actually using a fraction of the clinical dosage, in their products. So what's the manufacturing process? Is there any compatibility or incompatibility between the ingredients? Those ingredients are active, so they react between each other. So we're just trying to do a good job.
No, I love it. You're really
Yeah,
getting to the core of cellular health and
exactly.
like,
And honestly, I think this is the future
yeah.
because functional medicine, functional dermatology is really growing in awareness
Yeah.
among physicians, among patients, and, you have a wave of new drugs that are called biotherapies, like immunosuppressant. And we don't have a lot of history with these drugs. So
Yeah.
if you have skin disease like atopic skin or even vitiligo or psoriasis, most likely your physician could very well, if your case is severe, it could very well prescribe some immunosuppressant. But that's only the visible part of the iceberg. What's the root cause of your skin problem? This is
Yeah.
what you have to investigate. And
Yeah.
that a lot more difficult.
I wonder if there's a certain, like there's gene therapy now, like increasing cholestatin to increase muscles. So I wonder if this could be some type of gene therapy in the future.
It could
That's where
very
the
well be. I
company's
mean,
going.
yeah, it's endless adventure. That's what is fascinating in medicine is that you can go and work and there are always new discoveries, always new fields, always. It's a fascinating area.
I know. I love it so much because I am so deep in this space and I just keep learning more and more and more. A lot of people need their help. And this product of yours is so amazing because it's really not just treating skin, it's really treating your
Exactly.
health, your cells, which is the most important part. And I love how you knew about phospholipids, which I don't think a lot of people talk about, but that's so important for cellular health and your neurotransmitters and
Yeah.
everything. Yeah, I just want to get the word out, so that people can really feel good and feel healthy because I think a lot of people's health is not doing well and it's going the opposite direction that we would
E-
like.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Your lifespan, I mean, in the US, it's not going in the right direction.
that's true.
Actually,
I don't get it. We have more knowledge. We know about our DNA. We so much money behind research and scientists and everything. And how is our health declining? It's absurd. we have AI now. And so these things should be we should be increasing our lifespan at least 10, 20 years by now. And
Yes, but I
instead,
think obesity is the big issue in the US
the what?
and diabetes,
Obesity?
Yes.
Oh, for sure. The processed food, I can't even tell you how common. You can go to London or Europe, you see vegetables, fruits, and stands everywhere, real food, even at the airports. Here, you have to go to a Whole Foods, a grocery store miles away. You don't see produce. And so it hurts me that, children just see chips, they see cookies at a typical convenience store. I mean, in European countries, they have fruits and vegetables and good dairy at the convenience stores. And so it's a big issue, and I don't know if the big food companies are controlling this because it seems like a very easy solution, but it's I think the money is governing it. So it's a hard battle.
Yeah. No, processed food is highly toxic because your body is not used to absorb processed food. It's
Chemicals.
only, I would think it's common sense. You know?
It's the craziest thing how people think that's food. It's like, when did we get to a point where we think these Doritos or Oreos or this is food? It's not. It's chemicals, and it's a foreign object that our body is like, what do I do with this? And then you get the confusion of your body and your cells, and they start attacking each other because it's so confused with itself. So yeah, it's an issue. So which product do you take daily? I just want to know which one is
Yeah.
your go-to.
Yes. What I take every morning religiously when I wake up is a product that we've developed, which is called glycerin anti-aging. It's, to me, that's one of the best product on the market because in terms of controlling inflammation, it's probably, it has all those rich omega-3 phospholipids, omega-6,
Mm,
hyaluronic acid, and other vitamins. So it packs a real, very powerful punch. And it's a great product. We have great data, clinical data product. And, we don't have a huge range. We only have a few products because we
yeah,
try to develop products that are at the heart of what you need. So, of course, if you have serious deficiencies, and say, for example, in vitamin D,
hmm,
what we supply, what you give you, our daily dosage of vitamin D is not going to be enough. Your
yeah,
physician is going to tell you, you need 10,000 units, so yes, but for someone who has a balanced lifestyle, who wants to look after his skin, his heart, overall health, I think that's a great product. And I call it, really, it's the workhorse to fight inflammation, your body inflammation.
And when will people see results? How long do they need?
We have clinical data that show results after 2 weeks, but I think most people will see results after maybe 3, 4 weeks. Nutrition works slowly. It's not, and that's a problem that we have. It's not like, 24-hour results.
Yeah, I
Then
know.
people tell me, I have photo damage. And I tell them, okay, you've taken 20 years of your life with exposing your body to, and you want me to fix it in 48 hours, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
this is not going to work.
I
But
know.
but yes, you see, those are cumulative benefits. After 3, 4 weeks, you will see a better glow, more energy, more radiant skin. Yeah, and that's what you see. But in your
Wow.
body, there will be, because it's systemic, it will affect all your organs.
Yeah,
So there will be less inflammation in your organs.
amazing.
And so, yes, that will be for people, yeah, above the age of 40, 45, I would go to this product. For people who are more interested in, clear skin, or younger folks, or people with potentially acne, I would go to a product that we call skin brightening. It's glycerin skin brightening. And this is really more for physicians. For therapeutic support, I will go for the pure enzyme,
Mm,
the SOD pure, which we call it the antioxidant enzyme.
higher dose?
Well, it's higher dosage. You have 500 milligram in 2 capsules, while for the others, you need to take 3 capsules to have
Okay.
500 milligrams. But in the others, you have other ingredients.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Amazing. Well, this is I'm so glad we met and I learned about this because this is truly amazing. And I feel like everyone needs to know about this. So I'm going to try and help spread the word in the US. And I have a lot of listeners and people I know in Europe as well. So, everyone can go find this on Amazon
Yes.
and if they're in Europe, they can just order from the website.
Yes, we have a distribution in Europe everywhere. That's not a
Okay.
problem. They
Amazing.
just Google glycidin. Well, in the US, it's called glycidin skin nutrients, but it's available on Amazon. And in Europe, just glycidin, and you'll find we are available all over Europe, Asia as well. It's not a problem. And Latin America, very good coverage in Latin America.
In Canada?
Yes, Canada as
Okay.
well. We are on Amazon Canada.
Okay, amazing. Well, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast. This was really, truly remarkable. You know so much, and I can't believe you're not a scientist or doctor and have a business background because you know so much about cellular health. So it's really amazing. So thank you.
I was very lucky to have very great godfathers that really, and I try to be a sponge with them, like the
Yeah.
Professor Montagnier, Nobel Prize of Medicine, but many others, who got interested in this product and really who gave their time for it, because there was no way I could afford them, but they were interested in what we were doing.
So amazing. Well, hopefully we can meet someday, but thank you so much
Well, if
for
you come to
joining me.
France, you have to let me know, and
Yes,
yeah.
you have to come to the conference.
Yes.